In this video, I'll be describing the object-object output itself, along with two of the most common situations to get this, and three different ways you can handle it and get the data you're actually looking for. Hi, I'm William, and I'm a Salesforce developer at Smoothstack. The topic for today is how to handle the dreaded object-object in Salesforce. What is this mysterious repeated word surrounded by square brackets? And why is it popping up instead of whatever information you actually wanted? We'll be unraveling this mystery today. Spoiler alert, this mystery has a happy ending, and no, the butler didn't do it. So what's the deal with this object-object that can appear before you, and why is there not that much information about it when you Google Salesforce object-object error? It's actually a generic JavaScript error, meaning that it doesn't come from Salesforce specifically, but from the JavaScript framework that Salesforce happens to use. JavaScript is used by over 1.5 billion websites worldwide, plus a gazillion other applications. So the vast majority of the time the JavaScript object-object error appears, it will be in something other than Salesforce. But within Salesforce, you may come across it when working with Salesforce Lightning components or running a Soql query in the dev console. This error typically occurs when you're trying to display, alert, or log a JavaScript object instead of a string. Let's talk about the first situation where you can often encounter an object-object, running Soql in the Salesforce dev console. Let's look at a quick example together. So for some background, work order is an object in Salesforce that looks up to the case object, which in turn looks up to the account object. Let's say that I want to find out the name of every account that has a work order associated with it in this way. I also want to have some kind of way of referring to the work orders I see, so I also want to retrieve the ID and subject of each work order. I run the Soql query, select ID, subject, case.account.name from work order, hit execute, and then aha! As we can see here, the ID and subject fields were pulled from Salesforce and converted to text on my web page perfectly. The case.account.name field didn't fare so well. We see the object-object output under this case.account.name column. Generally, Soql columns that go through more than one object relationship, like we did here by going from work order to case and then from case to account, can give the object-object output. For some reason known only to the developers at Salesforce Inc., their usual way of converting JavaScript objects to text fails here. If you're just trying to retrieve a specific piece of information from the dev console, like I am now, the easiest way to work around this and get the name of that account is through the anonymous Apex window. Control E for anonymous Apex, and now we take my original query, load it into a list of work orders, call for the field explicitly, and then print the results. See? All right, let's have a quick knowledge check. What language is the object-object output in? A. Apex. B. Java. C. Coffee. D. JavaScript. Pause the video for a second while you come up with your answer. All right, if you answered D, JavaScript, you're correct. If you answered C for coffee, then you might need to take a break and go get some. Let's look at another example. Let's say you're sending information on a Salesforce record to the client side of a Lightning Web component. So here we see another object-object. Obviously this isn't what we want. How can we debug this? For starters, I'll print the case number variable to the JavaScript console. Console log this.case number. And then for clarity's sake, I'll go ahead and have us print case number. Case number is above the case number. Okay, So obviously this tree of data we're seeing as our case number variable isn't a nice, neat little number that we can neatly print onto one line. The getRecord retrieved a whole JavaScript object that couldn't be coerced automatically into a string. This whole thing is what got turned into the object. But maybe the data we wanted got returned as part of this JavaScript object? All right, well, this looks promising. We see our case number value right here, rather deep in the tree. But if we can look up that value directly in our JavaScript, then maybe our Lightning Web Component will work. And actually, this might be a shortcut. This is the same value as the case number that we're looking for. So let's try to go here in the JavaScript and try to display that. And lo and behold, it does. Another way we could have figured out what was going wrong is by wrapping the data object in a JSON.stringify. JSON is basically just a special format that you can display JavaScript objects in, and the stringify method puts the object into one long string that can be easily displayed. So hang on, let's just take a look at that. And so this is another way that we could have printed out our data object and seen where the case number was that we wanted. So basically, if you're getting the dreaded object-object output in Salesforce, you're probably trying to display data from a complex JavaScript object that has a hierarchical data structure that can't be easily displayed on one line. You'll probably have to refer to the data you want more precisely to extract it out of that structure. If you're not sure how exactly to get to that data, use console logs or json.stringify to map out the object so you can see the whole thing at once and figure out where your data is. To summarize, there are two major sources of object-object outputs in Salesforce. The first is the Soql query editor in the dev console. You can handle it there by using anonymous Apex to load the Soql results into a list and call the field you want from there. The second source of object-object outputs is in the JavaScript part of LWCs. You can handle it there by using console.log or json.stringify to display the whole JavaScript object you're handling and look for the data you want from there. If you're trying to learn more about this, then for homework, try checking out Mozilla's completely free and open to the public online JavaScript course that starts you off on JavaScript from the very basics and will have you ready to design Lightning Web Components from scratch in no time. Alright, well, getting the dreaded object-object is a very confusing experience the first time it happens. I know that from personal experience. Hopefully this video provided a good jumping off point to start your own diagnostics with. If you know another developer that's having this issue, maybe send this video to them. If you have any questions or suggestions for me, sound off in the comments.